undisputed world heavyweight champion, Alexander Usyk. Who would have fucking guessed? Well, I'm not surprised. To be honest with you, I'm not really surprised. And I'm not surprised because the old adage of being bigger is not always better. And that's kind of what we learned with this Fury Usyk fight. I don't think Fury's bad. To be honest with you, I don't think Fury's bad. I think he's a really bad athlete. I will say that. He's a really, really bad athlete. But he has a very high boxing acumen. But the great issue with Fury is he's not a power puncher. And he's too big to not be a power puncher and not be a one-hitter quitter. And so what you kind of realize with all the Fury fights is he was always the lighter guy. And when I say the lighter guy, I don't necessarily mean like he was actually lighter. But he was the more of the movement, bounce, touch, move, touch, move. Put a pace on guys, force you to react to him instead of him reacting to you. And here's the thing. When you're 270, you're not going to be able to get somebody to react to you if you're like 6 foot 230, which is basically what Usyk was. And that's all we saw, really. We just saw a lighter guy who was able to move better, which is really all the elements of all sports really like hold up to. It's like whoever's the guy who can move the best and whoever's the fastest typically is going to be the better, especially in heavyweight boxing where power doesn't really mean as much. And when I say power doesn't mean as much, it's not like power is irrelevant, but power is kind of a mute point. When you have two guys who are heavyweights who can both take each guy's lights out if they hit you correctly, power kind of comes irrelevant. Then it comes down to, okay, who's the fastest? Like the old adage, you want to be a talker in a room full of fighters, and it's better to be the fighter in a room full of talkers. You want to be the guy who can do the thing that other guys can't do as well when everybody has pretty much the same even skill. And what we saw was just Usyk was able to move better. He can move better. He could touch to get to the target. He was awkward. He was jerky. The southpaw didn't help Fury. And Fury basically just couldn't hit the mark. He just kept getting tagged, getting tagged. And it was just, I just saw a better boxer in Usyk. I don't think Fury demeans Fury by any means. I don't think it ruins his run. I'll be interested to see what Fury looks like if he fights Joshua. It also does lead to like another interesting dilemma because like who does Usyk fight now? Like who does Usyk have left? Does he fight the big ass Chinese dude? Who's left in the heavyweight division? I mean, it makes no sense to fight Wilder. Wilder just lost, so Wilder looks like he's on the he's on the downside of his career going down a skid. Joshua already lost twice to him. He just beat Francis, but I don't know what that really means for much. They can get a rematch with Fury. They try to do that with we'll get to that one too. The corruption of boxing, which is always let me tell you something that's consistent with boxing. The corruption. The corruption of boxing will never, ever not go away. Because I was watching that fight. I'm like, dude, there ain't no way in hell Fury even got close to winning that fight. How is this a split decision? Who gave the fight to Fury? What were they watching? Fury's almost out of his shield. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to complain about that knockdown. But that was a standing count. He was standing up by the ropes. And if you guys learn about the rules of boxing, there is a standing count if you're on the ropes and you're clearly being held up by them. The referee is allowed to stop and then reset you. Like, it's not MMA where you can just get a death blow and we don't stop till the guy's actually down and the referee calls it off. So I don't look at that as a bad call. Most people don't know the rules of boxing, so that's kind of why they're all like bent out of shape and saying it's a rig. But there was a major rig because I don't know how the hell somebody gave that fight to Fury. What was a split decision? That was a clean, unanimous decision for Usyk. I think I had Usyk up, Jesus Christ, it was probably like 8-4 rounds, something like that. So it was just interesting to see how boxing keeps finding a way to shoot itself in the foot. And I don't think it ever will stop shooting itself in the foot, which is quite interesting to see. And last and not least, because there wasn't much to really say about this fight, because for the most part, it was relatively boring. Like all boxing fights, boxing's never all that interesting because it's really just two people throwing hands at each other. So unless you get an early knockout or so, both guys are looking to fight each other. For the most part, you'll see somebody overwhelm the other guy to the point where the guy gets knocked out. And then the press conference is not going to be all that interesting because simply Usyk can't talk English. So if you're not an English-speaking person, you have no idea what he's telling you, and there's a translator. It leads to nothing. Not for nothing, Usyk's not that interesting. But what was extremely interesting was Tyson Fury. He said because Usyk is from the Ukraine, they gave him that fight. He was an unfair territory. I said, holy shit, what? That he might take too many shots to hit. I want to give him a benefit of the doubt and hope that this says like maybe he was just not like within his mind. That's what I'm hoping, because if you really think that because of the Ukraine war they gave him that fight, he must be more like delusional than Wilder. Wilder said like he put something in his water in his suit. Like that's bad. But once again, I understand, because in fighting, and it's something we always got to take into account for. In fighting, there is always, and I repeat to you guys, there is always a situation where you have to make an excuse for yourself for why you lost. Because you can't come back if you don't have an excuse for yourself. You don't make up a reason why you're losing. So it's necessary evil for my man Tyson Fury to come and make up an excuse for why he got beat. And it's disgusting. It's not cool. But once again, fighting is in the bottom rung of society. Fighting, you don't get the most brightest and intellectually sharp people. You don't get the bright minds of society. It is a disgusting, low bar activity for drunken jeers. And essentially, it's a circus. It's a clown circus of just violence. So you can't expect that type of like highfalutin, influential, like beautiful, wordy reasons for why he lost. And once again, he's a carny. Don't let everybody get confused. The Furies are carnies. So this does bring attention. He could somehow like bring that into the next press conference. Like this is because he fought in Ukraine, because he's a war hero. They want to give him to him, so forth and so forth. Maybe set the second match. Whatever you can do. Whatever you can do to get that second match. But yeah, all in all, Fury versus Usyk, great fight. Doesn't really do much for boxing, because it's not like Usyk is a superstar, nor does he really desire to be a superstar, nor does he have the charisma, nor have the greatest asset that any athlete can have, which is the ability to speak English. So because he has none of those, we're kind of stuck with this great champion who we can't understand. So yeah, man, that's boxing in a nutshell. We saw corruption. We saw a guy who we don't know very well end up becoming the better guy of the two guys. We learned that the marketing is what pretty much carries boxing. And we learned that Fury and boxers will always make up an excuse no matter what. Shout out to David Haney for saying Ryan Garcia missed weight by 3 pounds, was like that matters, and he was on steroids, and so forth and so forth. So, man, pray for boxing. It doesn't get any better. But at the end of the day, what are you going to put out? Probably nothing. Appreciate it.